from H1. Just going into presentation mode here. Thank you all for joining today. I know we're a little bit behind on time, so I'm going to do my best to keep it brief. And I'll sort of bookend my conversation by saying, if anyone is interested in discussing how KOL engagement works in a digital landscape, even if you just want to have just a thought partner discussion, happy to have that conversation with you. My contact information will be included at the end of this presentation. So today we're going to talk about engaging KOLs within the digital landscape. I want to go over just a quick introduction about why this is so important. We'll talk about what a digital opinion leader is, DOL, how to discover those folks, how to engage those folks, and then wrap it all up. A lot to pack into to sub 15 minutes, but I think we'll get it done. So speaking through just sort of the topic about digital opinion leadership in general, there's a long-standing tradition of how we engage physicians within medical affairs, traditionally focused on high publishing scholars, people who are doing clinical trials, and so on. More recently, what we've seen is medical affairs teams gaining access to things like medical claims data. And with this, being able to focus on treatment leadership, and then most recently, being able to introduce this concept of digital opinion leadership. And I speak to a lot of people on a regular basis about the topic of digital opinion leadership, how to generate these people, and things like that. And I can tell you most companies are now starting to include a component of digital opinion leadership within their works that they're doing. And the reason is that transformation is really already happening, right? We have to meet people where they live because the rising technological ubiquity is really helping to drive that transformation at a rate that is, it's unlikely to be reversed, right? And really what we've seen and what our clients have seen is that there's this almost a need to do this because the traditional methods are really no longer working when it comes to physician engagement. So why is that? And sort of what's driving that from like a cost of getting it wrong perspective? I think it really comes down to just the typical things that you're trying to avoid when doing any form of engagement with physicians, right? You want to improve adoption of advancements. You want to improve patient outcomes. And ultimately, you want to improve your relationships with a more digital population. So let's talk about this concept of a digital opinion leader. So in our experience, and again, we've done this hundreds of times now, typically digital opinion leaders are people who are engaging in one or more social platforms. So what does this mean? It means Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, WeChat, the list goes on and on. Clubhouse, right, is often coming up now too for these digital platforms in which people are able to engage one another and provide their ideas. Now, this often looks in terms of digital engagement like people pushing ideas out into a space, right? And this is something we'll talk about a little later in the presentation. Often these people are going to be younger, but that's not always the case. For those of you in working in non-small cell lung cancer, one of the top global experts in the world is constantly tweeting, right? Tweeting to all sorts of other folks as well. And you can see all of this through these social platforms. So it doesn't always mean that these individuals are on the younger side, your traditional like millennial physicians and things like that. These are established people as well, right? So it's important to keep that in mind. And then they have a following, right? And they're savvy when it comes to digital trends. So they know what's happening online. They know why it's happening, and they're able to sort of go where that wind is blowing. And they're also going to be engaging for different reasons. So a traditional KOL may be looking to do a clinical trial. They may be looking to lend their expertise and engage with other top physicians. A lot of times digital opinion leaders are looking for different things. They may be looking for the same things as those traditional folks, but they're going about it in a very different way. And I think it's important to just consider that. And all of that really ties into how we find these physicians. So there's two main aspects that I see when it comes to discovery of digital opinion leaders. There's a digital fluency and a digital strategy. And I like to think of the fluency as almost like the engine that drives, and the strategy is the car itself, right? So the structure that's being powered as opposed to the powering structure, right? So digital strategy, that's your framework. That's how you're operating from a digital perspective, right? You should know what you're aiming towards, know why you want to engage those physicians. Is it to develop them as a new KOL? Is it to better reach patients? Some digital opinion leaders are more plugged in with local communities, giving you a better access to those individuals. Is it staying in tune with what's going on in the market? Where are people disseminating ideas, things like that? Or is it maybe to even just build your company's thought leadership from a digital capacity? With more people moving into this space, tends to be a thing that people want to do. And then finally, I think it's important to really know that plan and know that strategy when it comes to this sort of structure around it, because that's how you're going to figure out what actually fits your needs relative to these DOLs, right? And then let's talk about digital fluency, right? Becoming familiar with these platforms on which an HCP would engage will help you improve your digital fluency. It will power that engagement, which we'll talk about in a second in terms of how to do that engaging. You should develop your comfort with those digital platforms, right? Not just familiarity with where they're engaging, but how to do it yourself, how to be a part of the conversation. And then understand what that DOL does and doesn't look like when it comes to your specific strategy as well. So are they tweeting a lot? Are they engaging others? Do they have a lot of buzz? Are they a scientific expert, right? Again, as I had mentioned before, they don't always look like those new fresh faces. They may be top thought leaders in their field. So how does all of this come together, right? This comes together when we start doing things to adapt to this digital landscape. So as a specialist, you want to, for your digital outreach, right? You want to meet them where they live, right? And you, by building your strategy and building your fluency, right? You can understand how to engage on Twitter and how it's different from how you engage on Clubhouse, right? You should do your homework, right? You need to know what this person cares about. How do they show what they care about, right? What are all of these pieces that build to your overarching strategy for that engagement, right? You've already built all of that out, right? So now apply it to the person and come prepared, right? Know that you're working towards that end goal. And ideally, that's one that aligns to the actual digital opinion leader themselves, right? Maybe you're trying to get more patients recruited for an engagement that you're doing or a clinical trial, and you want to get those people who are going to be doing or familiar with like telehealth, right? Using those digital engagement leaders or those digital opinion leaders, you can help build some of those things out. The other half of that, the other flip side of that coin in terms of like building an actual process for engagement is to build out digital assets, right? I recommend building materials that are both compliant and engaging in a digital format, right? Not just your videos, not just like a sell sheet or what have you that you're handing off to someone. Make them engaging, build out courses, build out a library of posts, do all of those things that will help to improve the outcomes that you're looking to get to, right? Curate and then update those things as well, because things change very rapidly in the digital space. So don't become stagnant, right? Don't let yourself slow down to a level where you're not going to keep pace with what's happening out in the space. And then, of course, consider the voice that your company has to ensure that your content is authentic, right? It is very easy to tell when someone doesn't care about the thing that they are positioning, right? It feels like pandering. Let's avoid pandering to our audience, because the people we're engaging are intelligent individuals, and we need to treat them as such relative to our idea. We wouldn't go into their office and not have something that's unique and bespoke to them. So our digital presence should feel the same way. And ultimately, use those assets to gather feedback and continue to improve. So I made the promise to try and keep this brief, so I will do exactly that, and really just sort of leave you with a couple of things, right? Digital engagement, as we see it, is a requirement within the modern KOL landscape. It requires a deep, very deep understanding of the outcomes you're looking to achieve. Everyone may have this idea that they want to engage people digitally. But without fully understanding what that means, without fully baking out your strategy, at best, you're only going to create another channel that physicians aren't going to really want to engage on. And then building out that best method for engagement requires that knowledge of your strategy and aligning everything to that. Ultimately, technology partners like H1 can definitely help, right? And just for some context, this is something that we do. We are a profiling tool. We have a data set relative to the physician landscape, the HCP universe, and we help companies do exactly this, as I've said. But the critical work is knowing what you want to work towards, right? We can build all sorts of models to help you profile and understand these physicians in the right way, but without knowing what good looks like, we won't be able to deliver. No one would be able to deliver, and ultimately, you're going to deliver an unsatisfying experience to the people you're looking to engage. Just to sort of wrap things up here, this is my contact information. I'm sure that the folks running the show will share this information as well. But if you need, it's country code 1-908-202-1678 is my cell phone number. And my email address there is robert.consalvo, C-O-N-S-A-L-V-O, @h1.co. It's not a typo, it's h1.co. If anyone would like to chat, happy to do so. Thank you all.